Hello, my name is Bridget Marty. I'm a Senior Associate Director and Career Coach for Working Professional Population in the Carlson Business Career Center. Thank you for joining me for this brief video about cover letters. Part of being interview ready is having confidence and competence that you are going to be able to write a cover letter that tells your story in a succinct and memorable way. So we're here to help you with that. As we go through this process of continuing to become interview ready and refining your story, we are going to be tailoring your story to the different ways you're telling it, right? With a resume, you have shorter bullet points. Your elevator pitch and tell me about yourself is a verbal experience. The cover letter is one of the only kind of long form writing experiences that you get to have to be able to tell your story. Some of you might be saying, it's still not my favorite experience, Bridget. We get that. Writing can be really intimidating for folks, and we know that often the hardest thing to do is just get started. So, couple things. If you are someone who maybe thinks out loud, better talk to text your cover letter content or some ideas for that. That might help you get going, or leveraging Chat GPT. Feel free to put in prompt, and we'll get to those a little bit later to just get some sense of where might you want to get started and kind of get things percolating a little bit. As always, a cover letter is one of those pieces of your marketing materials that you're putting out into the world to show how amazing you are. And it's something that you can refine and edit. And so the first cover letter, never the best, but they only get better from there. And I promise you that first one can be one of the hardest. So the advantage of the cover letter, it can be a wonderful way for you to demonstrate and explain why you are looking to pivot careers, and why you are looking to change, something that you can't always articulate on a resume. But in a cover letter, you can highlight that you're looking to leverage your graduate experience or your graduate degree to make that pivot. If you're relocating to a new area, or if someone might be thinking, okay, this is a role that's going to require a lot of acumen in sales skills. This candidate hasn't done sales before. Well, you can address that in a cover letter and explain how you learn quickly and your passion for the space, your motivation for moving into the industry. Also, one of the best things about that cover letter advantage is that you can highlight folks that you've networked with and talked to, which is really nice. It shows you've gone that extra mile to learn more about the organization. Also, you may be thinking, Coach Bridget, do people even read cover letters anymore? The answer is sometimes. We get really mixed answers from our recruiters. But what I know is this: if you have the opportunity to write a letter that explains a little bit more about you and how you could be a good fit for the role, I would take advantage of that opportunity. A cover letter can be the thing that gets you the role if it's between you and another candidate. Maybe they didn't submit a cover letter, but you did, and you are going to have a chance to tell that story. High level, when we are the structure, the process we use for building that cover letter, reviewing the position description to understand the skills and experiences they're looking for, taking a moment to reflect on what do you know about the company, any networking conversations, information sessions that you've attended, reviewing any notes you've got, thinking about why are you interested in this role and how are you going to bring value to that organization? Like, why should they hire you? And then you're going to draft it, kind of let it simmer like a crock pot, and then revise it. Again, that first cover letter is the hardest to write. So we say kind of this is a working session. You can kind of draft something out and know that you're going to refine it. And the coaches, we're always here to help you refine, kind of move things around in a cover letter, because again, it's a marketing document and you need to have another set of eyes on it to make sure it's landing appropriately. And last but not least, proofread. The cover letter is not a place for spelling typos and mistakes. So first things first, we get to the format. We always want to understand the bones of that cover letter. One page, same header as your resume, same font size, and same margins. We start at the top because this is a business formal writing exercise. So you start with the date and then the person you're addressing it to, their company, the street, the city, state, zip. I know you're thinking, Coach Bridget, I have no idea who the hiring manager is. That's okay. It can often just take 5 minutes to do a little snooping around on LinkedIn, connect with your coach, reread the job posting, see if you can find any information about who the hiring manager is. So if you can, try to get that name in there. If not, it's okay to list the Dear section to like Dear Recruiter, Dear Hiring Manager, and then put that colon afterwards. You'll see an example on the right, they have listed as Dear Mr. because in this situation, they knew that that person identified as a Mr. But to be on the safe side, you can always just say Dear and their first and last names and then put that colon. And then when you're closing it, you'll want to list your name, your program, and then the year of anticipated graduation, Carlson School, and then save that as a PDF. So those are just some best practices, good habits that we want you to get into. So there's 3 big parts to that, to the cover letter. The first paragraph, this is akin to when you're like meeting somebody and you're saying like, oh, hi, it's like, nice to meet you. There's kind of these like, kind of getting to know each other lightly, a little flattery. So first paragraph, we're listening for why are you interested in this company? We don't want this to be a generic cover letter. The first and final paragraphs should be the most tailored. The first paragraph is what you admire about the company, who you have talked to, what you learned in an info session, what things have really stood out to you. And so maybe you're like, I haven't gone to an info session. I don't know much about the company. Take 10 minutes, review the website, do a Google search on any articles, see if you know anybody who works there. Anything you can do to show that you genuinely have put some time and energy into this. That first paragraph should also identify the role you're applying to or the team you're looking to join, so that as the reader is going through it, they're making sure, okay, we're all on the same page here. And then that cover letter advantage of being able to share what isn't clearly evident on your resume. Use that right away in the beginning paragraph. Explain if you are a career pivoter or you're looking to make a change or you're relocating to their area and you're eager to build a career in that space. Name it right in the beginning. So there is no question in the person's mind why you're interested in this role and what your application is doing in their pile. And then flattery gets you a little further in this process too. So I'm saying, these are the things I admire about you, and this is what or your organization, and this is what I appreciate it. And I want to join you. Show that enthusiasm. A lot of folks are, enthusiasm works. So wooing, it doesn't hurt. So we have some examples in the deck and on our website of content for paragraphs. Again, nothing for you to plagiarize, but more about to just see an example about why and how these principles can show up in these paragraphs. So the heart of the letter is the part that can really feel daunting, but is actually, I think, one of the easier parts because this is going to be a little more consistent across your letters. What you're doing in the heart of the letter is showing the hiring manager exactly how your skills match what they are looking for. If they want someone who has experience in data analysis, operations work, and leading teams, and that's what you can bring to the table, you use the heart of the letter to call that out clearly. So this is where you want to review the position description, identify those key verbs, or put yourself in the employer's shoes. If you were the hiring manager for that role and you're looking at the position description, what are you looking for in a candidate? Identify 3 things. And then in the heart of the letter, you're going to provide a higher level explanation overview to create a picture in the reader's mind as how you have demonstrated that competency. We want them to picture you doing the work so that you are undeniable as a candidate. They can say, I absolutely am confident that this candidate can do the work. It has been demonstrated here. The heart of the letter can be smaller paragraphs, or it can be bulleted, and I'll show you an example of that later. I would just avoid one long block of text because too long didn't read. It's just real now. So before we get to some examples, I want you to kind of try out if you were needing to build a position, if you were needing to build a cover letter based on this position description, what might be some of the skills and competencies you would want to surface? So take a moment, and as we're reviewing, okay, this is a real position description. What will you do? Develop strategic marketing plans for a product line, drive new business and opportunities for the business, develop new product features. Okay, partnership with engineering. I'm looking down like, who are you? I'm self-motivated, people skills. Okay, so what would you identify as 3 areas that you could highlight, elevate in the heart of the letter to make sure that hiring manager knows you're the best candidate for the job? My hope is that the items you pulled out are the items that you see in black on this screen. So highlighting experience developing strategic marketing plans, driving new business, serving as a communication link, highlighting that you're self-motivated, able to build vision, that you can partner with folks, you're flexible. We don't want to get too wrapped around the fact that this is an engineering or R&D. You can absolutely highlight like experience in that space, but ultimately we're listening for the transferable skills with a new candidate, right? Do you know how to communicate the information? Do you know how to develop a product plan? Do you know how to execute a project plan? Do you know how to work with a cross-functional team? Those skills are the transferable skills, so we can elevate those. Now, if you happen to be a career accelerator and this is a role that's like in your space, your function, your industry, and you want to elevate that, you can absolutely elevate, the experience you have working in engineering, working in that space. But most importantly, really think about those transferable skills. So something we have coached candidates to do is when you're building your first few cover letters, as you're reviewing these position descriptions, you'll see a lot of these competencies are fairly similar, or the skills they're looking for. So keep drafting those smaller segments in the middle. Typically, they're 3 to 4 sentences, the smaller paragraphs or bullet points, because you might be able to use those for other cover letters. That's the part of the cover letter that stays fairly consistent because you're really looking to elevate your best, shiniest skills. It's that first paragraph that is edited and adapted, micro refined to whoever you're applying to, and then your final paragraph as well. So if the process of kind of reviewing that the position description and pulling out the skills that you want to elevate in the heart of the letter, if that's a little overwhelming to you, absolutely consider leveraging AI tools such as ChatGPT to review a position description and identify what are some of the key elements to surface. I put the example of a prompt you could put into like a ChatGPT, and then for an HR business partner role, and you'll see on the right, this was what ChatGPT was able to share their ideas of. Here are a couple of the key competencies to demonstrate. Finally, we want to make sure that you know how you're going to end that cover letter, much like how you end your tell me about yourself and how you're ending that pitch. We want to feel really confident, like Simone Biles, and that like she knows what she is doing and you're feeling good. So we want to have that closing paragraph be succinct, typically about 3 sentences, summarizing why you are excited to join that company, how you would be honored to participate in the advancement of their mission and goals. This is also where you're asking for the interview. I look forward to discussing my candidacy in an interview with you soon. Ask for that interview, say it, and show a little personality there too as well. You're saying goodbye in a good way that's hopefully memorable. So putting a little extra energy into that closing paragraph is going to be helpful. So again, knowing how you're going to stick that landing is helpful. So as you see here on the right, this is, example of the cover letter and the format that we've been discussing. You have that first paragraph that is why you're interested in the organization and explains anything that needs to be explained. We also then have the heart of the letter, which has a brief intro, and then we have those core bullet points that designate here are those top skills that I'm going to bring to the organization and to this role. And then it closes with restating that strong interest in the role. So as you think about how you can best prepare for writing a cover letter, there's things you can do to set your future self up for success. When you are in a networking meeting, take notes because you can infuse those quotes or insights into a cover letter. And then often these bullets or segments that you're writing in the heart of the cover letter, where you're elevating the wonderful skills and strengths you're going to bring to the role, those are often also the seedlings of star stories or an interview stories that you'll get to be using later on. So these become a nice foundation spot. So keep an eye on what you're building for the heart of the letter, because it's going to come in useful. So most common competencies we see: working collaboratively, developing a strategy, working with data or making recommendations with data, communicating with leaders, or communicating in a matrixed environment. These can be really kind of simple segments that you can build out in the middle. As you look at the example, it's not that someone's telling a full star story to demonstrate how they've elevated that skill. Rather, they're giving enough information to let the reader know, I have experience with this, I have some confidence and competence in it. So again, as with anything, we want you to start with a draft, just kind of get the wiggles out, get that bad pancake done, and then you're going to connect with a coach when the actual time comes to like submit that cover letter. But for now, if you want to really demonstrate this learning, build out that draft using just kind of a basic framework of that kind of same header as your resume, business formal writing, intro paragraph, heart closing. Then find a job description that is interesting to you and leverage ChatGPT or an AI tool of choice, and use the prompt that was shared earlier in the presentation and say, what are some of the competencies I would want to elevate in a cover letter? Just starting to build that process, that muscle memory, is going to help you when the time comes to write that cover letter. And so I promise you that first cover letter is definitely uphill, but it gets better from there. And you're not alone. We're always happy to help as your coaching team to support you in providing editing assistance and review and feedback on your cover letter. So thanks for hanging out with me in the cover letter session.